Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video I will be trying out these pens from a company named Grabie. As you can see here, they sent me two sets to try out. The 36 set dual toned markers and the 28 set of extra fine tip acrylic markers. These also come with replaceable nibs that you can swap out for a thicker coverage. There are quite a lot of colours here. These dual toned ones, they actually have a different colour on each end of the pen, as you can see here. I think I picked up the worst one to show you because they are like quite similar colours. But yeah, each end has a different colours, which is much clearer to see on the other pens. And they have a brush nib, which I love. I love how those always look. It also comes with two separate swatch sheets, which I love. I won't lie, I don't always like making my own, so it's really awesome that they come with two of them. And the cool thing is, one of them is on black paper, so you get to see how they all look on black paper, which I think is really cool. The design of these pens means you can't put the pen lid on the other end of the pen, which is only annoying if you are likely to lose the pen lid like I am, but luckily that didn't happen in this video, so we're cool. There are a nice range of colours in this set, so that is something I was very happy to see. These lay down really nicely. They have quite a nice consistency. They're very bright and saturated on the black paper, which is something I love to see because obviously black paper can be quite hard to cover up sometimes. These came out looking lovely. There might be a couple that you need to put 2 layers on, but otherwise it looks really good. So that's it for the first set. Here I was trying to show you both of them so you could compare how they look. It definitely makes a difference colouring on different coloured paper. So now with the extra fine tips, this one comes with a drawing pad, which is really cool because there are sheets with multiple different colours. It also has the 2 swatch sheets like the last one, which again I just really love. So these pens are actually push pens in that you need to pump the nib to get the ink out, as I will show you in a bit. Of course, it also means you need to shake them so that the paint is definitely properly mixed. So you can see here how it works. You don't actually need to pump multiple times with pens like these. It does help, but you can just like pump once and the paint usually comes out really quickly. So I prefer to do that because there's less risk of like blunting the pen nib. They are numbered, but for some reason the numbers are backwards, and I was going to try and make some sort of key with it, but for some reason the numbers are also like doubled, like there were 2 15s, so I kind of just gave up on that. And I think what I'll do personally in the future is label the pens myself so that they are easier to keep track of, because the material of the bag means that they are likely to get muddled around a lot and there is no identification on the pens themselves. So I would recommend adding your own if you get this set. But yeah, these colours are also really nice and also really vibrant on the black paper. So that is really cool and I'm excited to try them together. I showed an image just then of my character Kara. Something I've been enjoying doing recently, and you'll know this if you've been following me on Instagram, is there is a game that came out, I can't remember if it was this year or last year, called That's Not My Neighbour, and the whole premise behind it is that you work in a hotel or an apartment suite and the neighbours, you have to let the neighbours in, you are the like administrator or whatever, and there are doppelgangers that are trying to come in and they look like the neighbours, but there are a few things that are off and you have to catch them so that you don't let a doppelganger in. And I recently saw some people doing some art of their OCs along with a song that was made for the game, which is actually like really catchy, and I will link it down below if you're interested in listening to it. What they do is they take their OCs and they create like monstrous versions of them, or at least that's what I'm assuming they do, and the idea is that they are like a doppelganger of your OC. So of course I had to try it with Kara, and I've been having so much fun with it because normally Kara is quite a nice person, like she is assertive and stuff, but she is typically quite nice. So I really wanted to push the monstrousness of her, because like at the end of the day she is a demon. So I thought that would be really fun, because when I first made her, or was like experimenting with her looks back when I first made her, I did experiment with her being more of a monster demon thing. So I've been having a lot of fun messing around with her in this style, and because like technically it's not even really her. So that's what I wanted to do for today's video, and just enjoy colouring her in, because she is quite fun. Having her be blue just makes it interesting sometimes, because obviously she's just not got a normal skin colour. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun, especially because the outfit and design of her that I went for is really close to her original one, because although it is kind of subtle, she has changed over the years. So it was nice to revisit what she used to look like, because she always used to have like swept back hair, and she used to wear this outfit in like previous drawings of her. So yeah, I was really happy to mess around with that again, and it's kind of almost made me want to go back to this hairstyle, because one of the reasons I originally left it is because I really had a hard time drawing it, because I wasn't the best at drawing hair and how it would look on different angles of the head, but I think I've gotten a bit better at it, which is why I enjoyed this so much. So I'm like really debating with myself if I want to do that, or if I should just leave it to her evil doppelganger self. Using the pens themselves, they went down very nicely. They went down so smoothly and so buttery. You will notice, I'm sure, that it does peel the paper a bit. I think it's a combination of, well, first off, they're wet pens that you have to rub back and forth essentially to make them work. So they are highly likely to pill whatever paper you're using them on. But I also think this paper, while it's good and it holds up, it's possibly not 100% the best, because I have used these pens a little bit in my other books and on some other paper, and it doesn't pill as much as this. It does a little bit. I think, like I said, it's inevitable, it's going to happen regardless, but yeah, it can look a bit extreme in this video that you're watching. So but honestly, I've said this before with other markers that I've used, it doesn't bother me that much. Like it bothered me a little bit while I was using it, while it was wet, but after it dries, it just didn't bother me that much. It's quite extreme on this second Kara, but by the end of it, I was like barely noticing it. With Kara, this is going to be a page full of Karas, by the way. With Kara, the first one I was like, it's not that monstrous, it's just Kara. I kind of got rid of her sharp teeth as well. So for the second one, I tried another design where she has a second pair of eyes and her horns are like a bit more extreme. And again, it's not really pushing the monstrous design. It's not really something I'm used to doing, so I'm not like 100% comfortable doing it. I don't know how to do it necessarily. It might be something I want to practice with. So she does still look extremely tame in this version. Like those eyes on her face don't even look real. They look so goofy, but I do really like how this looks. I think the exaggerated horns are very fun. I really liked doing that in this style on her, and I did add some red dots to her eyes in I think all versions, just because it does add a little bit of like, I guess, evilness. I don't really know. Yeah, having all these different coloured tones was really nice. All these different shades of colours, because it meant that I could add so many different like shadows or highlights and just gradients, which was so much fun. I am so happy with how these turned out, because there is a large range of colours that I could just mess around with. And then going in and adding the fine liner bits at the end was also extremely satisfying. I will say I feel like a lot of the fine liner colours are a lot more saturated than the brush ones. Like as you can see, I added some blood streaks to her because it needed to be more evil. but the blood streaks are the reddest red of that set. They are very much more saturated and more red than the blood stroke that I do on the background behind Kara, which is the reddest red of that set. So it was interesting. Maybe it's because it has to come out of a brush or whatever, it's just less saturated, but yeah, the fine liner ones are way more saturated and vibrant than the brush ones. But I think that's kind of what makes them work really well together, because, you know, then you again, you have different tones and shades of the same colours, so it's pretty nice. So like I said, neither of those were particularly like scary or monstrous, so I wanted to do a third one where she was potentially more scary, and for sure she looks very freaky, and I don't initially like looking at her. Like, I think she looks better by the end, but she's still pretty freaky. So I wanted to, again, I twisted her horns, I gave her sharp teeth, and I kind of gave her these like fangs coming out of her mouth protruding, because honestly I wasn't really sure how to make her monstrous. If like I said earlier, I don't really do it that often, so this was like the best I could come up with, and maybe I will experiment with it more in the future. Maybe with her, that could be pretty fun. But I do ultimately like how it turns out. The whole time I was doing it, I was like, is this a mistake? This looks horrible. Should I not have done this? Can I fix it? But adding all the colours and then the fine lines at the end, it kind of fixed it. It made it look deliberate, or it neatened it up enough that I like it. It was fun messing around with adding all the other colours, because then there were so many like reds and pinks and stuff that I could add loads of different tones and gradients, and I really think that's what made it work. So then, yeah, I added a yellow background thing because I really wanted it to pop, and I didn't mention this earlier, but instead of drawing on the white paper, I decided to draw this on the slightly greyish paper, just because I thought it would be more interesting. I usually always work on white paper, so I thought working on the grey paper would make a nice change, and it made it stand out more. I think there was something about drawing on this coloured-ish paper that was very satisfying, and I think it made the colours pop. Yeah, this is the final of the Karas, and I really like it. I really experimented with them because of the pens, so I'm very happy with how that turned out. I wanted to try something else as well, because, you know, at the end of the day, this is still quite a pale page, so I wanted to also see what it would be like to work on one of the darker pages. So there are some like purples, blues and blacks, and I was going to draw on the black one, but then the blue one just looked really nice, so it's like a navy blue, and I decided to draw on that one. And I wanted to do a goldfish because I thought it would be very fun, and you could see I started sketching with pencil initially, but I just could not see what I was doing. So I grabbed one of the pale fine liners and used that to sketch instead, which was surprisingly fun. And it didn't matter if I made any mistakes, because like the whole point of it is it's going to get covered up anyway because I'm going to paint them. So it was kind of nice to try that, and you can just sketch with the fine liner ones, which was really fun. I went in to the goldfish and it was fun. I liked it because there were quite a few variations of colours. I didn't struggle that much like trying to get the shading right and like the iridescence that fish has. I think I did quite well with it, which was nice, you know. It was a nice surprise because I'm not typically that good at doing iridescent things, but there were a lot of like purples that I could do that with, and then I just like kept going in and adding different colours, maybe too many by the end of it. I'm not sure, but against the dark background I just really love how this looks, because usually I like to add some sort of background so that the image stands out a bit more and pops, but on the dark paper I really don't think it needed that, and it looks quite clean, which I'm very happy about. So similarly with the other ones, I went in with the fine liners at the end, and I did add a bit of line art because I felt like some areas needed a bit of tidying up and needed some definition. And I went in with the white to add some more highlights because I didn't think it looked shiny enough. and fixed its eye. And the only problem I have with these fine liner ones is because the nibs they're not like one solid piece of plastic. I think they're like multiple pieces that come together to form a point so that the ink can come out. With how the paper can pill, this is like the only issue. The pills harden as the paint dries, so then when you're using the fine liners, they can sometimes like get caught on one of the lumps, and so like I did with the tail here, and like I did with the star a little bit down here, it can like it can splatter the paint a little bit. You can get this kind of effect, which is a little annoying, but I think it's also like unavoidable unless you like go ahead and pick all the pilled bits off, which you very well could do. That's something that I sometimes do, and I did a little bit on the Cara ones. For the most part I just left them, and it only really happened like once or twice. I think it happened like maybe a little bit on the Cara page, but it wasn't that bad. That is it for these pens. These were so much fun. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've kind of fallen in love with acrylic markers lately, so I'm very pleasantly surprised that these pens are also seemingly very good quality. It's a nice surprise. Obviously, because these are dual tones, meaning there are two colours in there, I don't know how much paint is going to be in one pen. That is something that I will try to keep you updated on. If these run out at any point, I will let you know. Of course, these pens, once you shake it and mix it up, I think they have quite a fair amount of ink. And the fun thing about these ones is you can see it, so if it runs out, you'll know, which is very cool. I'm very happy with these and how they turned out. And again, it's really cool that you can get replacement nibs for these ones, I believe. You can just pull these straight out and put the other ones in, and it gives you, yeah, a thicker nib, so you can just get thicker lines. Yeah, I'm really happy with how these turned out. I think adding the yellow stars to the fish really made it for me, especially how nice it looks against the dark blue. I want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's watched this video and made it this far. A huge thank you to Grabie for sending me these pens to try out. There will be links in the description as usual, so if you're interested, please go down and check them out. A huge thank you to my Patreons: Disby, Megan Palmer, Grimclow, The Waffle of Life, Non-Toxic, Saint Nick's, LP, Kira May, Kay, Annabelle, Joanna, Sir Studalot, Mila, Phoebe, Pretty Rotten, Crescent Frog, Joanna Snake Moon, Humble Frogs, Local Fishkeeper, Mould Ghoul, Art Mancy, Farrar Ware, Sun Arts, Molly Marula, Hannah Anderson, Sammy Bear 127, Kenzania, Jade S, Arrow, Charlie, Malorus, Ghosty, Jess H30, Cindy King, Vlada, Art by Lavender, A Woodsy, Rainbow Tea, Breaded Nuggets, Dumteen, Neva Thorpe, Ivy, Lindsay Perkins, Human Eye, Mothbug, Nox, Crime Against God, Catbird House, The Tormented Shadow, Sweet and Hopeless, Pocket, Cool Desert 525 and Misfit. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, I really appreciate it, and hopefully I'll have another video out soon.